Hi, I'm Raymond. You're watching RPAD TV 3000, and we have a great show for you today that is all about Deadpool. With me today is longtime PR veteran MacLean Marshall, who I've known for
Too long.
decades now. And I got to do this in the beginning, but you're wearing this outstanding ugly Christmas sweater. Let's see it.
Let's see. It's the Mary Chimichanga Deadpool.
That is so cool.
I felt it was appropriate. It usually is just wrapped on my chair behind me, so everybody kind of walking in the office can see it. But because it's not year-round attire, if you will.
Yes.
But that's it. It does get its use.
So MacLean and I have known each other at different websites and magazines for me and different publishers from him. I think I first met you in your Interplay days.
Yeah, that was my first foray into the industry, doing PR for Interplay. Man, like way back when, like Baldur's Gate era, like times and things like that. So, and then just everybody kind of has continued on and bounced around here and there.
Yeah, and then you were at Activision for a very long time.
Yeah, Activision. I think like combined something like 12 years at Activision, and then there was a little stint at Codemasters in the middle.
Right.
And then after that, I left Codemasters and ended up at Sierra, which is part of Vivendi.
Right.
And literally, like the day I accepted the offer, the merger was announced, and then I was essentially like right back at Activision again for my second stint.
You guys again? I just left you.
And it was funny, like everybody was still there, and it was like calling, like, "Hey, am I like good and gonna make it?" And they're like, "We can't tell you yet, but so it worked out."
And then for the last 8 years, you've been at Turtle Beach. Is that right?
Yeah. I kind of left the game software kind of PR side of things and moved over to the games hardware and accessory side of things. And I had some, again, folks I worked with over at Interplay had ended up ironically at Turtle Beach at the time. And timing just worked out that when I left Activision, an opportunity opened at Turtle Beach, and I went and interviewed with a few folks and started a few months later.
Yeah, and 8 years
and it's
later.
been a while. Like my mind's blown every day that I'm like, have I been there 8 years? Doesn't feel like it.
And I want to thank you and our friends at Turtle Beach for providing the excellent prizes we've been giving out the last few weeks. We're going to talk more about this week's Turtle Beach contest, but let us dive into Deadpool. You and I are both immense Deadpool fans. In a nutshell, why do you love this character so much?
In a nutshell, I'll give you like the quick sum. The moment I took my wife to see the movie, she just turns at some point and goes, "This is you as a superhero. This is what you would be. This is your smart ass personality." And it really is. It's a character that I've always jived with, and and I wasn't a really hardcore comics book guy growing up, or I actually got more introduced to like comics and the X-Men and Deadpool and all that stuff through being in the video game side of things at Activision and working on all those games. And at that point, because I didn't know what I didn't know, I kind of had to go learn it all. And once Deadpool kind of fell into view, I was like, oh, this is it.
That was your guy.
Yeah, it was, and it still is.
So I don't want to reveal too much, but in the times that I've hung out with you over the years, I've always enjoyed your sarcastic, biting humor, and that's very much in the Deadpool vein.
It is.
So, I mean, we spent a lot of times, a lot of drinks over the years. So have you always been like that? Because it almost seems New Yorker-ish to me.
And a little bit, and I think it's just a little bit of I don't know, just bluntness and always looking for a look. I'm always looking to make somebody laugh too. I think there's always that. So even if it's dark or kind of, maybe most people wouldn't say it. If it's, sometimes I'll be like, yeah, let's just go for it. And I think it's funny. And I think Deadpool kind of just as a character stands for like some of the right things. Like some things, sometimes you kind of got to get dirty to get things accomplished.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we are going to dive into 5 reasons why we think Deadpool is awesome. Guys, if you're watching live, please feel to comment away and join the chat. If you're watching after the show is posted, leave a comment and let us know why you love Deadpool. But let us dive into reason number 1 why Deadpool is awesome. His irreverent, unique, and unpredictable humor. Now, you talked about the humor and how it relates to you. What was the moment? What were some of your favorite Deadpool jokes where like, wow, this is the guy for me?
Uh, so again, I think everything it started with the video game that we worked on at Activision,
Right.
and that was kind of like the most deep that I kind of got involved with, like the character, like in as an introduction, right? It was like, oh man, like this is it, this is for me. And you know uh again, just the fact that he said the things that people didn't want to say. He's a total smartass, like pretty much 24/7. He's sarcastic. Again, it was just something I kind of identified with. And then what was really funny too was at the time we had like a not final version of the game, and we were sourcing who's going to end up doing the final voiceover for the game. And so one of my coworkers on the studio side, Terry Spire, he actually had done the temporary VO for Deadpool in the game that was
Oh,
placeholder before they ended up going with Nolan North to do, who's known for doing Deadpool voices and other
right.
comics related things. So for Deadpool, so it was getting to kind of just see like my friend do. He even got considered to do like the final VO, and we had like a handful of like
Oh
just
wow.
auditions for people to be the final Deadpool, and he got really close, but they ended up going with Nolan North. But it was just cool. We were also kind of just close and attached to every little piece of building the game, and then eventually the game launched, and then years later then the movie came out, and it was, and even the teaser for the movie that came up beforehand, with the whole freeway scene, right? Like
Yes.
everything that leaked out was just like everything that any fan of Deadpool wanted to see. Like it showed up in that teaser, and then I've kind of just been hooked ever. It's like the movies. Like I feel like low when I don't have like a good movie to look forward to coming out, and like having like the Deadpool 3 movie off on the horizon has always been like, oh man, I got to make sure that like that's a good one. I want to make sure I see that, and I want to make sure I see this, and I'll make sure that this next one comes out. So it's one that I follow and look forward to.
What I love about his humor is that it's so varied. He could be really biting, he could be really silly, but it's always nonstop. If you look at this clip, it's two panels where he just talks about saying duct tape,
Yep.
and it plays in my head. On paper, it's stupid, but it cracks me up every
Yeah.
time I see it. And
It's like when he's doing the names, when he's going through the potential names of what's like a Ajax in the original movie,
yes,
right?
yes.
He keeps going. Is it Basil Forte? Like he comes up with every different possible name it could be. It's fun.
Or when he meets in the second movie, when he meets Black Tom Cassidy, White Wade
Yes,
Wilson.
yeah.
It's like, what's your power? Cultural appropriation, like that.
Yeah, you know what? Another funny one that I literally I watched the original movie again yesterday, and I watched the sequel today, and just trying to get caught up again on all the little things. And even like when he goes in the very first movie, and he's in that dude's apartment talking, waiting for the pizza kid,
Right.
and he's just like something, I'll kill your cat or whatever, and he's like, I don't have a cat, and he's like, well, whose cat litter did I just shit in? And like. What's interesting to me about that part is like you almost wonder if that was like the cancer that you didn't know he had in the timeline at that point. Was that kind of fucking with his brain enough to make him just kind of like, because again in the comics I think like there is some like he kind of has different mindsets about different things. Some of it was because maybe it was like where he was at mentally.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just it's an interesting way to look at that scene, because I just watched that yesterday and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That's an
But
excellent
that whole scene too was just hilarious.
Absolutely. We have our first comment from BSU Kenyon. I love Spider-Man's humor in the comics, but Deadpool just goes a little darker, and that's so entertaining sometimes. It's so absurd and hilarious. That is an excellent point, sir. He is kind of like fucked up Spider-Man, isn't he? It's like
he is. I mean, like it's and there's that whole dynamic too, where they're almost. I think like there's a jealousy dynamic between like Deadpool and Spidey somewhere in the Marvel universe as well, right? So yeah, it's definitely dark, definitely hilarious. And I think that's probably why the allure, because like I think when that first movie kind of came out and did what everybody wanted to do from the comics, it seemed to like really kind of break free and stand out on its own. And then and then you go back, and then like the Logan movie came out, and that was like he talks about that. It's like now you copy my R rating and I'm gonna die too, and this and that. So it is funny.
And he doesn't have any boundaries. He has a relationship with death in the comics. She's like this female embodiment of death, and Thanos also had a relationship with death. So when he bumps into Thanos, he wants to high five him and goes, "Hey, toboggan twin," because they both stuck with death. And I'm like,
That's funny.
so
I didn't know that. I gotta look that up.
you don't say that to Thanos, but he
Yeah.
did, and I love Wade Wilson for that. So awesome.
Yep.
Now let's get into reason number 2 why Deadpool is so awesome. He is the master of breaking the fourth wall. Like I've seen other characters in comics and movies, um, even like Ferris Bueller going back that far, break the first wall,
Totally.
but nobody does it like Deadpool. He is the best to me.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I think that's I do, and I think that's also a little bit of like the magic of kind of like Ryan Reynolds brings to the table too,
Yeah.
right? Just as such a kind of relatable human that you just want to kind of hang out with anyways, and then you put him in the red suit and you turn on the kind of the Deadpool persona, and it's kind of everything that you would want to, every so yeah, totally agree. I think that's good.
So here's an example of him breaking the fourth wall in the comics, where Bullseye asks him, "How long has it been?" Issue 16, Greece. Like, what's up? I mean, you don't really see that in comics, and
Right.
in movies he's done it so well, and he's done it in the world of video games too. Can you
Yeah.
talk about the Deadpool PR campaign, how that worked,
It
and what
wasn't
you did
even
for that?
just the PR campaign. Yes, when we did the game, I just like remember this so vividly too, because we had a handful of meetings, and then the kind of core marketing team broke off, and we all went to drinks and dinner one evening, and we're sitting around like a little table, and we were talking about like, okay, so how do we do, like, what do we do that's different, unique, dynamic, anything like that. And kind of out of the gate, the thought was, well, if Deadpool's like kind of the only character to break the fourth wall, why don't we have Deadpool be in charge of his entire video game production? Everything from production to marketing to R&D to his website to like emails to his press. Like he writes his own press release announcing his own video game. The website is clearly something he made in his spare time. And so everything was done through that lens moving forward, which was super cool. And, so we even had at one point, we even had a live action Deadpool interrupt and invade the San Diego Comic-Con Marvel panel as part, and like we had even teased like a potential Hit Monkey
Oh
build up,
wow.
and that Hit Monkey change. There was a big banner for Hit Monkey that was hung outside of like Comic-Con, and then we changed it overnight into the Deadpool banner. So everybody thought there was like maybe a Hit Monkey game coming, and then all of a sudden Deadpool was the big reveal, and then we had the guy in the suit break the fourth wall, and essentially like he was essentially the Marvel panel at that point.
That's excellent.
So
And you brought duct tape into it.
yes, and duct tape, the website. I mean, if you would scroll through the website, like I think you would get to like the next below the fold, and you would see like a row of duct tape, in your screen that looks like that's what's holding the pages of the site together. It was very well done by the creative team that worked on all that stuff.
That's outstanding.
It was a real fun project to work on.
So was there any pushback? Because Marvel didn't seem that marvelly in that way at the time. Was there any pushback from them about doing something?
Kudos to Marvel. Like, I think they knew what they had, and we had such a good kind of group of folks, both internally at Activision, who were really, really big kind of hardcore Marvel and Deadpool fans, as well as on the Marvel side as well. So like when because we all had, like I said, we had that meeting over drinks and dinner, and then we took that idea and we presented it to Marvel. And part of that was me like reading a fake press release that I wrote as Deadpool announcing his own video game. And I think I have it somewhere. I could go dig it up. But it's like me reading as Deadpool and his other kind of internal, angel devil monologues that he kind of has.
Yes.
About his kind of game reveal. And they loved it. And they're like, okay, like, this isn't it, obviously. Like, this is just like, me kind of greasing the wheels for things. But like, that's what ended up happening. So when we did, again, the press releases were actually written by me as Deadpool, and then Marvel approved all that stuff. And then the website was written as Deadpool by our creative team. And then that all went through Marvel, and they were really great about getting it all through and kind of giving it as much support as we could kind of hope for and expect, I guess, coming, out of at that time in the industry. So,
yeah.
For more of, I guess, like an independent game that was not like the big Call of Duty behemoth,
Right. Now, did you have to do anything personally to get into the mindset of Deadpool when you were writing those press releases, or
You
because you have
know,
the
I
same
got such
humor?
a good sense of it from Terry, who was doing the voice, the temporary in-game voice leading up until they switched it out. So I got kind of such a good head like space around it, and just for playing pre-release versions of the game to, and then again looking at the comics at that point. So I think like when it came time to write those things, no, it was pretty simple. Like not simple like anybody could do. I think anybody could do it. I just, for me, it was like, oh, like I can get that headspace pretty easily.
That's excellent. I kind of do want to see that those old
I'll
press
do. I
releases now.
swear on my life, I think I saw in like a folder when I was going through like old like thumb drives and stuff the other day. I will absolutely send it to you if I dig it up.
Also, I'm guessing the site is no longer there. Probably
The
not,
site's
right?
not. You know what? You might be able to just search for the press release.
Ah, and there's always Internet Archive. Hopefully the site's on there. That would be cool to see it.
Yeah.
Let us see. The power of Google shall
Yes,
compel
I
us.
know. You can hear the fingers of Fury typing on the keyboard in the
All
background.
good. This is for science's sake, so it's important.
This is how shit gets done, man.
Absolutely. Now, I do want to talk about the giveaway. Guys, this is for this week. It is for YouTube subscribers. So you have to subscribe to my YouTube page, leave a comment, and have a US mailing address because shipping is expensive internationally. So
Dude, your shipping's nuts.
this week, I'm giving away a Turtle Beach Neat Bumblebee II. Now, Mac, if you can go tell the people out there a little bit about Neat. I actually have a King Bee 1, the original one with the yellow and black, almost like it looked like Striper's microphone or something.
Yeah. Let me give you a little bit. So most people think of Turtle Beach as just like a gaming headset company, which is what the company was like predominantly, for a long time. And then over the past couple of years, we acquired a PC brand called Rocket. And then more recently, I think it was 2021, we acquired Neat Microphones as the company kind of just continues to expand and do more accessories. And what's cool about the Neat stuff is these are the guys that actually founded Blue Microphones way back when.
Right.
And eventually Blue Microphones got bought by Logitech, and that was their kind of core microphone team for years and years and years. And eventually the Blue guy, I'm sorry, the Neat guys kind of broke off and started Neat Microphones. And then so you had gotten your King Bee in their first wave of products.
Yes.
And then before they had done like a second round, we had acquired them. And so the Bumblebee II, these are all sequels to like what was kind of like universally celebrated by more like people who can appreciate the finer things of a microphone.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the Neat stuff was really, what they did was it's really kind of high quality components and gear, and essentially designed by the same guys who made pretty much every Neat every Blue microphone for Logitech for years and years and years. Now they've done something new, and it's kind of a more current, recent design using the latest parts, latest tech, and they've still done it for what is arguably a cheaper price than you would expect. Right?
Yeah. I just want to give some people context. I believe when the King Bee 1 first came out, it was like $180, and it was outperforming like microphones above $400
Yeah,
for
like
for
$400 and $500.
vocals. People used it for professional voiceovers, for music recordings, and
Mm-hmm.
it just, people were shocked about how much it punched above its price. So
Yep. And that same kind of mentality kind of transferred to the current generation, which is the twos, right? So I'm using a King Bee 2 right now. It's just out of frame. You can't see it.
you sound
Um,
great.
yes, I hope I sound good. And then what's cool about the Bumblebee 2 though is just because the King Bee 2 and what's the other? There's one other one for an XLR mic. The Worker Bee 2 is a smaller kind of version of the King Bee 2, and
Right.
it's both an XLR. They're both XLR mics. The Bumblebee 2 uses that same really big, like 25 millimeter, diaphragm that the same one that the Worker Bee uses. So, and it's just USB, right? So again, if you need like a real simple plug and play USB microphone that's for streaming, sounds great. You can actually take it off of the frame and mount it on any kind of an arm or anything like that. It actually sounds really good, and for the price that you pay for a Bumblebee, most mics that have that level of kind of performance and components, it would probably cost a little bit more.
Yeah, that is fantastic stuff. So again, thank you, and thank everyone at
Yeah, no
Turtle
worries.
Beach. Just want to flash these comments again and say hello. This is my friend Johan. I can tell
Yo,
by his rifle. So he gets 2 entries into this contest, and there is Caleb, who wisely switched from Twitch to YouTube to leave this comment, getting him 2 chances to win this excellent Bumblebee 2. So good
all
luck
right.
to both of you guys. I'm leaving this contest open until Wednesday next week. That is the 8th, I believe. So November 8th, 6 p.m. Pacific. We'll be in standard time by then. So that'll be the
Oh
cutoff
yeah, the time change is coming up, isn't it?
Sunday. Oh,
Well, that's gonna screw with everybody. So
I'm not a fan, especially as I watch English Premier League, so I have to wake up an hour
oh, you're gonna get
earlier.
early for that?
It's kind of nuts
Yep.
having to wake up at for a 4 a.m. game or something.
My normal like wake up with no alarm clock or anything time is like 5 a.m. and then I just have to force myself to like try and go back to bed.
Wow.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Guys, this has nothing to do with the show at all, but
Nope.
write your congressman to do away with daylight. Just pick one.
Get rid
Be
of it.
like Arizona. That's the one thing they do right. They don't follow this standard daylight time. I mean, it's stupid. It doesn't make sense in this era. Now, getting back to Deadpool, reason 3 why Deadpool is awesome. He has a unique take on a healing factor. Earlier on, you mentioned that Wade Wilson has cancer, and he volunteered to undergo this. I believe it was he part of Weapon X, if I'm not mistaken?
I believe so, and I think they covered that in what was the movie with Wolverine and
Yes.
Sabretooth, right? They and the Deadpool that he ends up offing in the
Yes.
newer Deadpool movie, right? Like he's taking care of the past timeline, right?
Yeah.
I think in that movie they did set it up as like he was a part of, like one of the Weapon X program.
He was kind of like the failure before Wolverine, and then
And that always makes me wonder if that's kind of like, does he know Wolverine is also part of the Weapon X program, and that's where all of this kind of curiosity, like why is he always so focused on Wolverine up until this point, right before the movie? Where does that originate from?
Great comment from Caleb. Deadpool would be in favor of sticking with one-time format instead of spring forward, fall back. I agree. If
Agreed.
Deadpool would do it, then we should too.
Right.
So yeah,
Start the movement.
he volunteered for this program, which gave him his healing factor, but it also left his face looking like Freddy Krueger. And it's not something that's part of his angst in the comics and the movies, is that he has a healing factor and long life, but he looks like that. So
Yep.
and everyone's poster child for healing
There's
factors.
Spidey in the background.
Oh yeah, check that out. And Wolverine is the poster boy for healing factors, and he's too perfect, especially the movie version of Wolverine, where Mr. Jackman is just a specimen. So.
I was just reading too. The I forget the guy's name who's directing Deadpool 3. Was saying that the ending of Logan is canon, right? So so at some point that world where Logan died technically is somewhere that's Deadpool is going to be somewhere within that same reality.
Interesting. What do you make of the face, how it translated in the movies? I thought it was pretty perfect, spot on.
I thought it was spot on, and I liked I think one thing that was always like really hard to do was like the eyes, right? On any even when the Avengers and Spider-Man showed up in the Avengers and he did his like eyes thing, and everybody was like, finally they got it, and like I think that same kind of methodology kind of translated over to like the Deadpool outfit and costume, because like that's another thing where like they don't do too much with it, they do just enough with it, but like he can still emote but still have his face covered, and it still looks pretty good.
And we have that awesome scene in the first Deadpool movie where TJ Miller is going off on different ways of what Deadpool.
Looks like a raw avocado had sex with a topographical map of Utah. And
that's so good. And I wish, there was some friction there apparently. And
yeah, I think he I didn't look this one up, but I think it said something that kind of crossed the line, and I think eventually ended his participation
Yeah.
in the series, which is a shame. You know, he seemed like a good dude leading up until that, but
Yeah. But he also, and it kind of relates to Deadpool, TJ Miller also has brain damage and he got part of his brain removed. And he says
I didn't
between
know any of that.
that and medication, he is behaving better now. So I hope
Okay,
that's true
well,
for him.
yeah, I mean,
Um,
I had no idea.
coincidentally, I bought some of TJ Miller's peanut butter lately, and it is delicious.
So you,
Um, he has
that's his thing. He's making his own peanut butter now.
I mean, he still does stand up. I forget
Okay.
which club in LA. I don't think it's the store. I think he does the improv a lot
Okay.
in LA. But yeah, he has like 3 different kinds of peanut butter. The one I bought has toffee, Rice Krispies, and
Oh, so he's doing like stoner peanut butter.
yeah, this
Yeah.
is not taste like peanuts at all. This tastes
Okay.
like dessert paste kind of thing. It's delicious. Don't get me
Got it.
wrong, but we have
Interesting.
some Nate is here. Deadpool
Deadpool
screwed with a
screwed.
timeline enough that anything is possible when it comes to bringing back Wolverine. Wonder where the two.
So okay,
Fine
I don't know.
point.
Yeah, are we allowed to talk about this? Are we allowed to talk about
Go ahead.
rumors,
Yes,
speculation?
we
Right.
absolutely are.
So the one that I saw that I like the most is that the TVA is kind of recruiting the prime heroes from across the timeline, and that's how Deadpool somehow comes into contact with Wolverine. And they're using that to build an army to fight the Kangs.
Love it. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I'm totally behind on Loki season 2. I only watched the first.
I haven't started yet. I've been like, I'm almost kind of waiting for Loki season 2 to be done.
And just
I don't
binge
even
it.
know what it is, and just binge it all and just get it all in.
Caleb pops in here. TJ Miller would never cross a boundary, especially not in the airport. That is funny because he had, and I believe this was his pre-brain surgery where he did a fake bomb threat in an airport and got arrested for it or something. So,
Well, I mean, yeah, that's typically not what you do at an airport. So,
no, especially post 9/11. So,
yeah, that's typically frowned upon.
yeah, they don't like that. So his healing factor, I think we're past the healing factor.
Yeah, I mean, like it, like it's very similar to to Wolverine. I think it's just I'm more curious to see if they expand on any of his powers with like the teleportation more, and I think that's obviously going to be a part of
right.
the next movie and maybe potentially tied to the timeline.
So for those who don't follow the comics, there's a series called Cable and Deadpool where they are a team and they're so hilarious together, but he steals Cable's teleporter and uses it for all sorts of mostly stupid things, but sometimes heroic things. But it's like if you or I had a teleporter,
Are you
that's what we
kidding?
would do with it.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Where would you go tomorrow if you had a teleporter?
Where would I go tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, I don't know. That's a tough one.
Same question to all of you watching. Where would you go if you had a teleporter?
I don't know, man. That's too big for me to even like contemplate an answer right now.
I'm thinking Maldives for the beach and then dinner in Singapore. I don't know. That's just off the top of my head. Singapore is my favorite place in the world to eat. So
Okay.
yeah.
I think we're here on the West Coast and we tend to go to Hawaii, so that's kind of like the vacation away from things.
That makes sense to me. I would totally do that. That would be in my top 5 for sure.
Okay.
Partially because my brother and his family's out there and I miss you guys. So I'd love to see you. Now, let us get into reason number 4 why Deadpool is awesome. He has an unmistakably 90s costume. So Deadpool was introduced in New Mutants issue 98. Created. Ooh, that is a good question. Here. Hello, Google machine. New Mutants 98, 1991. God damn, I feel old.
Jesus. Okay. Sorry.
So he was created by Fabian Nicieza, the writer, and the infamous Rob Liefeld, who has a very distinct style, and you can see it in his costume. This is when the lithe characters had pointy toes, the big characters had stupid gaudy shoulders, and everyone had pouches, way too many pouches to do anything with. So he was introduced in 1991, New Mutants 98. They also introduced Domino, who also became a pretty awesome comic book character.
Yeah.
The squinty eyes, that is another Rob Liefeld original. And he is so 90s, but they made it work, and they've adapted him kind of like how Caleb was saying earlier that he's kind of like a messed up Spider-Man. His costume is almost like a messed up Spider-Man too.
Yep. And you go through there was the era of the self-made costume that looked like kind of a sweatsuit, if you will, with the hood. I mean, there's a lot of parallels.
Love that one.
And then just I think even in his current format, right? Like his suit just doesn't compare, because it doesn't have to, by the way, but it just doesn't compare to like anything that like the X-Men wear.
Yeah.
Or, right. Like he's got like, it looks sweet, like it's pretty cool, but like it doesn't, he gets shot, it has holes in it, all he's duct taping pieces of it together all the time, because he's kind of like cheap and doesn't want to make a new one.
This is true.
Yeah, so it's that suit's really, what's funny too is like when we did that thing with the live action guy and taking over the Marvel panel, one of the things, and like I'm sure they all have to deal with it on the movie sets too, is just the overheating in the costumes, and like walking around at Comic-Con full leather outfit with a hood on, and like having a fan and cooling system on the inside of it. It was a lot. Like this guy had to have like 3 or 4 people like around him at all times with like water, and just to have him like be able to stay hydrated.
Right. We have a bunch of comments that this this one cracks me up. Does Deadpool dress up as Spider-Man for Halloween? He should. That would be pretty hilarious.
That would be funny.
We also have some questions to where would you go if you could teleport? Caleb says he would go to Japan to see all the train systems there. Japan would be great, but I would not go for the trains, which are awesome, but there are many other excellent things to do in Japan. I would go to
I've never been to Japan yet.
Oh,
that's one of all the places that I've gotten to travel for work. So that's one of the ones that I've never got to make it over to.
Is Tokyo Game Show still big? I mean, it's getting smaller.
It's still a thing. It's still fairly big. But I've never had a reason to take a flight over there and do it, unfortunately.
I think the people of Japan would love Turtle Beach products. That's just what I'm thinking.
I think we have stuff there. It's just, I think it's like kind of nowhere near as like the presence like we have in like, the US, Canada, or the UK or anything like that.
Right. Come to think of it, Caleb, Fender recently opened a flagship store in Tokyo, and I would love to go there and play and probably buy a Fender made in Japan original, because they make a lot of stuff that's only for sale in the Japanese market. You can import it, but then it becomes pricey. But yeah, I think I would buy a guitar there. Johan says back to Manila and Singapore to visit family. Oh, then he would come see me in Henderson again. Thank you, Johan. That's very nice.
That's nice.
Yeah. But why don't we meet in Hawaii or the Maldives instead?
Yeah. Fiji's also nice.
Oh, I would love to go to Fiji too. Yeah.
I went there once with my wife for just a pre-kids vacation.
Oh man, how blue is the water out there?
It's see-through. It's like not even blue. It's just clear.
It's glass.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Now, we talked about the costume, and I think we're going to spend a lot of time on this topic because I understand Ryan Reynolds is popular in your household. But to me, Ryan Reynolds was the perfect casting for Deadpool, except for that X-Men Origins Wolverine movie where they took with the Merc, they took the Merc with the mouth and sewed his mouth shut. And I'm like, what? Why? Yep. But even as far back as Van Wilder, I'm like, this guy could be Deadpool.
Oh, are you kidding? Yeah, Van Wilder, like Blade 2 or 3 or whichever ones he was in. I mean, everything he's done for me has just been like totally. I have like there's like a certain just level of entertainers or actors to me that like just no matter what the movie is, it's always at the very least entertaining. Like The Rock, right? Pretty much anything The Rock does to me is a watchable, entertaining experience, even if it's a terribly like shit movie, right? Like there's one where he's like the Tooth Fairy or something like that.
Yes.
Like it's an awful movie, but he makes it watchable, right? And I feel like Ryan Reynolds has that same kind of just attraction to, like when you look at the characters that he's played over the years and all the different movies that we just named off. I feel like he just is a likable human, like that just kind of brings that to whatever the role is.
They're both likable, but I think both of them, they're not afraid to make fun of themselves. And
No, self-deprecating humor is the best.
yeah, and that works for them in their comedy. I think
Yeah.
it's so good. Caleb adds, I think he would go with 1994 Spider-Man animated series version of Peter. For what Deadpool would dress up as Halloween. Yes. Oh, but
Right.
Johan disagrees. He would go as Tom Holland to pretend to be a little. Ha.
Also accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, that could work too. But now your wife is big into Ryan Reynolds. What is? I mean, there are obvious things to like about him, but what does she like about Ryan Reynolds?
I think honestly, I'm probably more into Ryan Reynolds than she is, but like, no, I think it's just the same thing. He's a good looking, he's a good looking guy. There's that. He's got that
Yeah.
same just kind of upbeat personality. He's witty, he's fast, he's quick witted. I think it's just that recipe that makes like you said, he's self-deprecating, not afraid to like make fun of himself, and you see that through like the people that he surrounds himself with, right? It's like a lot of like Rob McGilligan. I can't say that last name.
McElhaney.
Like that whole crew from the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like they just have that similar vibe where it's okay to be dark. It's okay to like make fun of everybody and including yourself, right? So it just seems to work. And like you say here, like who else could have pulled off? Like if Ryan Reynolds wasn't available, who's the backup that pulls off Deadpool?
Rob McElhaney. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. Like it's a tough one. Like I don't know if it would have happened without him.
I used to think they were kind of the same guy until I saw them in the
really?
Welcome to Wrexham documentary,
That
and I
show's great, by the way.
didn't realize the height difference between them.
Oh
like,
yeah, he's like
wow.
he's like 6'6" or something. Like he's Ryan Reynolds is a big dude.
I had no idea until I saw something with scale, and they're like, whoa. And Rob McElhaney's not like a short guy. He's like an average normal height dude, but he like Ryan Reynolds towers over him. But Ryan seems like one of those good looking guys that you feel comfortable with, even though they're ridiculously good looking. And that's a very rare
far
thing.
wealthier than you are. And
like,
my wife at one point, I think she tried to get me a birthday present where I just got to go spend like a day with Ryan Reynolds, and it didn't work out, unfortunately. But also, I mean, fair, note. She also, for a prior birthday, tried to get me a day with a monkey where I could just spend a day with a monkey in my apartment, and that also, when you read the fine print, didn't seem like a good idea.
Basically, you have to sign it like an Ebola waiver or something.
Well, it goes like it's all the fun things that you can do, and then you get down to like the end, and it's like basically it reads like, look, this all sounds good on paper, right? But if this thing goes batshit crazy and eats your face, it's not our fault. And you're like, I don't know if I want that risk. So
honestly,
we didn't end up doing it, unfortunately.
That's like a lot of waivers for video game events.
Oh yeah, way back in the day, sign your NDA, so secret. You can't tell the secret society about what's going on.
So for people that didn't see, we referred to the X-Men Origins movie. To the left there, you see Deadpool with his mouth sewn shut, which is just so dumb. So dumb.
It really was. Yeah. I had such high hope. Like when you first watched that movie, I really did have like much higher hopes for the direction, not knowing what you didn't know at the time, like with the direction they would have gone with him.
Yeah.
And then that happened, and you're like, eh.
And he, when he was still before his pre-mouth sewing, he was funny. He had the quips, the humor.
It was the perfect, again, another perfect Deadpool, an iteration of Deadpool early on.
And then they sewed his mouth shut. I mean,
which is ironic, and I get it why they did it, but also not the right choice.
Yeah, and there were things going for that movie too. I thought Liev Schreiber was really good.
Liev Schreiber was great.
Yeah, although the Will.i.am kind of pulled me out of it. I'm like, are they going to start? Let's get it started in here any second.
Yeah. And what was the big fat guy again? I forgot his name.
Oh, Blob.
Blob. Yeah.
I forgot the actor though.
He's been in like a couple things with The Rock. He had been in a handful of things at the time.
Right.
He was good. I liked him.
And then we had one of the Hobbits in there too.
Oh, that's right. Well, you know what I'm curious about too, because you mentioned it before, is in Deadpool 3 is Domino gonna return? And previously, the answer was no. She couldn't make it. There was a scheduling conflict, and I guess Zazie Beetz, they couldn't get her in the movie. And
Right.
I just like had like fingers crossed that like maybe with the
strikes.
sad as it was, the writer's strike and all that, and the actor strike and all that stuff, if the delays like, could have led to her being to come back to be in the movie, that would have been rad. Because I really liked her in the second movie. She was great.
Yeah, I thought she was fantastic, and I love how they translated her powers into live action.
Yeah,
and she kind of blew up since then. So great for her. I do hope the writer's strike, as horrible as it is, I hope it kind of paved the way.
Is it not over? I thought it was.
It is
I
not
know it was
over.
kind of up and down, and then it sounded like it was over, but then it wasn't. So is it still kind of going?
They're still fighting. The nanny is still fighting for actors' rights. So
That's lame.
yeah. So we have a few more.
We know where Deadpool would stand on that.
Ryan Reynolds,
yes, Ryan Reynolds is into Blake Lively,
yes.
correct?
And into Scarlett Johansson. So when he was dating Scarlett, I'm like, this guy's my hero.
Yeah.
Caleb adds, I find comparisons between the film Bottle Rocket and Deadpool. Oh, that's really interesting.
I don't remember Bottle Rocket.
Bottle Rocket is a Wes Anderson movie with
oh, that's why.
So he has the same cast. It's Jason Schwartzman, Owen Wilson.
In every movie.
Yeah. Banality can be hilarious because it finds the joke in the mundane and everyday experiences, i.e. the duct tape panels from goddamn Caleb, you're very smart today. These are very insightful comments.
Going
Although
deep.
maybe not as insightful as this one. Johan says Ron could be a Filipino.
Filipino. Okay.
Ron is a common friend of ours, and we're making fun of his face. So,
all right.
Johan is not me. Although I would make fun of his face if I were commenting on someone else's podcast and Ron came up. So, guys out there, why do you think Ryan Reynolds makes the perfect Deadpool? I mean, it just seems like he was born for this role more than anything else he's played.
What about beyond Deadpool, Ray? Beyond, like, what's your favorite Ryan Reynolds bit?
I liked Free Guy more than most people. I thought it was very sweet. Trying to think what else I liked him. I liked Van Wilder at the time. I mean, it's not a great movie, but it just made me laugh, and even though I knew it was dumb.
What's the one where he's the music exec and it's with Anna Faris? And
Just Friends, where he wears the
Just Friends. Suit? That's probably my favorite Ryan Reynolds movie outside of Deadpool.
Oh wow,
it's so bad. Like, it's just such a bad movie, but like there's just some really funny stuff in that movie. That and I still love Waiting, even though he's a bit player in that one.
Nate agrees with you. I'm a sucker for Just Friends.
Just Friends is so good. And Anna Faris, by the way, steals every scene of that movie that she's in.
Yeah. What is she? Has she been in things lately? It seems like we haven't heard from her.
There was a TV show. I don't remember which. I just know she was in like a TV series that was on, like something about a mom and she lived with her mom. I can't remember. I have to go use the
Google machine. Yeah. I'm totally unaware of that. Yeah, that seems like a step down for her. To me, she's a movie star. I don't know.
Yeah, no, she what was the other there was another handful of things. Oh, she did all the Scream movies, right?
Yes.
Or not Scream, Scary Movies.
Scary Movie, right.
Rip-offs of Scream.
I loved her in Lost in Translation, where she is playing basically Cameron Diaz, and I thought she was fantastic in that role.
I haven't seen that in so long, like I don't even remember it.
I believe this year it turned 20 years old.
That's the Bill Murray one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
That's actually my favorite movie of all time.
Is it really?
It is, yes.
Wow. Lost in Translation.
Partially because of the Tokyo thing.
Okay.
It reminds me of the times I visited there. And first time I saw Scarlett Johansson, which was, just life-changing.
Okay.
And Bill Murray has always been hilarious to me.
Yeah.
I like Sofia Coppola's movies. I think she's fantastic. I'm looking forward to her Priscilla movie.
Hard departure from my favorite movie.
Well, let's hear it.
Front runner, Spaceballs. Just
Mel Brooks. Yeah.
That's Mel Brooks, Star Wars ripoff. Like, I don't know how you kind of.
It's a parody.
Rick Moranis, like, it's got everything. Yeah. But then I gotta be honest, like when Deadpool came out, that slid into like a really tight second space. So.
You know, I cannot watch Bill Pullman in anything else and not think it's Lone Star.
Yeah, Lone Star.
And even in Independence Day, I'm like, wow, Lone Star became president. Good for him.
Yep. And his son is like an actor now too in a handful of things.
Had no idea.
Too. Yep.
Jeez. So Caleb says Ryan Reynolds has a great ability to be sincere, which makes him likable. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that really came out in Free Guy.
That's that self-deprecating humor, just aware of, everything around you, including yourself. Right.
Oh, Nate adds that Anna Faris is getting that Star-Lord alimony. I forgot that they were married.
Oh yeah. What's his name? One of the Chris's.
Star-Lord, Chris Pratt.
Yes. Star-Lord. Come on, man.
Like his name is Star-Lord. Or wasn't he in The Office also?
And that was a great show too. I
still like the British one best. I know the US one had more longevity, but
yeah, I didn't watch that one. I don't think more than like a few episodes, to where I think like the US version, and probably because it was like at the same time of the rise of Steve Carell.
Yeah.
Right? I think like he drove that wave pretty, he was kind of the momentum for that wave.
Yeah, I agree. Did I miss any comments there? No. Wow. Good for me. Look at that. So I have not really mastered the art of talking and producing at the same time.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Not separating thought from action.
Yeah. Parks and Recreation. Sorry. My bad. Not The Office. Yes. Good job, guys. Good catch. Yeah, I did not watch either of those shows regularly.
In that show, he dated that girl Aubrey Plaza, who was also really funny.
Yes. I loved her since Scott Pilgrim, and she's blown up.
That was just on the other day. I just watched that recently.
The animated series comes out this month, and I think they got all the major actors. They even got Captain America to reprise his role, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. I mean, I guess some of them aren't doing many things these days, but to get Captain America come back to do a Netflix animated series, good for them.
I gotta be honest, like with the kind of delay in Captain America things, or the lull, I guess if you want to call it that, over the past few years, and the rise of like The Boys and Gen V. Like every time now Captain America to me is like almost like a toss up. Like, are we talking about Homelander? Or are we talking? And then who was the other Captain America guy from the other series?
Well, Superman is in it. Brandon Routh was also Adam.
Is he really?
Yeah, he plays Todd in Scott Pilgrim. And now we have Ramona Flowers, who is also Hera Syndulla in Star Wars and Ahsoka. So most of that cast is blown up except for maybe Scott Pilgrim himself.
Yeah.
Forgot his name.
Michael Cera.
I bumped into him at one of my favorite coffee spots in Silver Lake.
Oh, really?
And he was really smiley and goofy, and I'm like, wow, you are Michael Cera. So
he's just the same, basically just playing himself in most things.
He seemed really like a sweet, approachable guy that was smiling way too much.
So, what was that like End of the World movie that was,
This is the end. I love that version.
His character in that movie was so great because it was like the anti-Michael Cera.
Yeah. And I loved when he slaps Rihanna's ass. Say cheese, baby.
Yeah. That movie, that was a terrible movie, but had some fun moments in it for sure.
I like it because it just seemed like a bunch of friends hanging out and getting paid to make a movie.
Totally. But it's funny, you go read, there's like a whole bunch of stories, and I don't remember their names. But the guy who does like the voice for the How to Train Your Dragon, Jay something.
Baruchel, yes.
Him and one of the other guys absolutely did not get along, and in the movie they didn't get along.
Yes.
And in the movie so in the movie you think that they're actually like acting like they don't get along, and like the interviews that they've done afterwards basically were like, no, they pretty much straight up hated each other and did the scenes together. So, and
it's and he's such a big actor now. He was in Wolf of Wall Street and
Jonah Hill. Yeah.
Jonah Hill. Yes.
Yeah. God, man. This is what getting old does, right?
And we have a comment that's probably correcting us right now. Oh, Danny McBride is so good.
Danny McBride's also one of my favorites, and also, what's the what's the movie where he's the guy who's red? It was Seth Rogen and it's the pop movie.
Oh, right. With Franco's in it also.
Yeah, that movie.
Pineapple Express.
Pineapple Express.
Yes.
His character in that movie was like gold to me.
Yes.
Like that was the best.
Oh man, they should make Pineapple Express too, like they did in that movie.
Man, that was a movie for its time.
As shitty as Your Highness was, Danny McBride is hilarious in
that movie is so like there's a handful of us like that still reference lines from that movie like all the time when like it's the most inappropriate ones from the movie, so I won't say them here. But usually like those come up because there's only like so many people that have A, seen that movie, and B, appreciate it for what it truly is.
Yes. I'm there. I'm totally with you on that.
Like I own that movie on DVD. Like it will stay with me forever.
Excellent. Nate says he has a Kenny Powers jersey.
Oh yeah, Ken, that was a good show.
Yeah,
K-Swiss. I just saw K-Swiss is like hiring for like a new head of the brand, and I'm like looking around and I saw that come up, and I was like, man, somebody's got to whoever takes that job has got to come up with something better than Kenny Powers being their spokesperson, right? Because wasn't he their spokesperson for a while?
Yes,
yeah,
that's true. Danny McBride in Due Date. I don't remember his role in that. I only saw that once.
I don't even know what that movie is.
It's with The Hangover.
It's about a baby, right?
Right. I think he has to get back to his wife who's expecting a baby. It's Zach Galifianakis. Is it Robert Downey? Am I remembering that correct? Johan, correct me.
Oh, please. I think I know. I think I have seen it, but I probably didn't finish it.
I mean, it's clearly no, Your Highness. So.
No. There's only certain things that hold that same caliber.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, I think we are going to wrap it up. Just a few housekeeping notes. Again, thank you to Mac and thank you to everyone at Turtle Beach for providing these great prizes. Next week, I will not be doing my regular Thursday show, which is the 9th. I have a medical thing on Wednesday, and I don't know if I will be not loopy enough. I don't know if I will be clear enough to do a show on Thursday, but I will.
Who's judging whether or not you're loopy enough to do a show? Who's your like senior counsel that's making that game time decision for you?
Probably me, just so I can make sure I can click on the chyrons and clickers and everything correctly, because that could be an issue. But I will be coming back on Sunday the 12th. We're taking a break from our regular schedule because Paul Semmel and I are going to review the Marvels. I'm so looking forward to that.
Paul, I said hi.
Yes, I will. Or you should. You actually live closer to him, so you should.
I know. I should probably just go tell Paul, let's get lunch. But
yes, and we should do that together. I mean,
we should.
Mac and I were talking earlier this week, and I don't think we've seen each other for like 5-6 years in an E3 or something. So
yeah, probably a last live event would be probably E3.
And you know, when whether it's work or friendship or a blend of both, you meet cool people over the years, and you should try to stay in touch with them because it's easy to forget. And this was a good reminder for us. And
totally.
I hope to hear more from you. And you are welcome on the show anytime, whether you want to talk more
you
about
have a subject that you want to talk about that I know anything about. I'm all ears if I could talk about it. But yeah, if you need another voice, let me know. I'm always happy to help out. And this was awesome, by the way. And thank you for having me. And it was way too long since the last time I pinged you.
Yes, and you have a great voice, partially due to your excellent Turtle Beach Neat Mike King B2 that you're using.
Yeah, that nobody can see. I don't even know if I could like swing it into frame. Oh, there.
Right.
It's hanging on a big arm.
I think I have one. Oh wait, do you see mine? See that guitar case?
Yeah,
right behind it. That's a King B2.
Oh yeah, I do see it sneaking in there, and there's a little silhouette in the back.
And
it's a beast of a mic too. It's like heavy. Yes. You have to get like, if you ever buy like that one, you have to get an arm that's like at the right weight to hold that mic, because like it's slightly in the beefier category, which I learned the hard way. But yeah, once you get it up there, man, I have not had anything but people saying your voice sounds great. So hooray, mission accomplished.
Also, do you see those 3 awards on the top of my my desk there? My
I
bureau?
do. Number one, and number one.
Those are 3 1-up awards that I stole from the office when they had a party. So,
Yeah, I have a lot of stuff. Like, you want to talk about borrowing things? When we transitioned the office from Vivendi to Activision after the merger
wow.
ages ago, and they basically the handful of us that got kept in the merger, you're told to tag the things in your office that you want relocated to the the Activision building at the time. And man, like all of us just went around and tagged anything that we wanted in the building, shuffled over. So like we went from having like low rent, like chairs and like stuff like office furniture, to having like executive level stuff brought over and put in our office. Everybody's like, wait, how did you guys get this? And like, we just tagged it and they brought it.
So you can
So we
tag
all had really nice stuff after that.
whether it was yours or not, you could tag.
Totally was not ours. Yeah, not ours in any capacity whatsoever.
That's awesome. Now, guys, be sure to learn more about Turtle Beach products. Go to turtlebeach.com.
Yes, please go there.
And don't forget to like, subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and keep it looping on your background in the office or something, so I have more view hours. And we will see you next time on RPAD TV 3000. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.
Bye.